One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host,
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Oh, yeah. Monday. Welcome back from the weekend, everybody. Welcome into the One Mic with Big Mike show. I, of course, am your host, Big Mike. Make sure you guys check me out each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock right here on Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com. And also on the website, One Mic with Big Mike. That is the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. There'll be a streaming player on the main screen. What I also like you guys to do is make sure you click on that little thought bubble you see dancing around on that streaming player. It'll take you to the live interactive chat room. I think, and I hadn't been saying this, but I think you have to actually sign up and for free. It is free, like Twitter and Instagram and all those things, for a free Spreaker account. And then you can join the live interactive chat room as well as follow my show. And I do suggest that you follow my show. It is the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE. Follow me there. First, you have to search for it, but then follow me there. Speaking of following me, follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. Same handle. My Facebook is facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. And if you don't get a chance to, like, say you start listening at 7, but you don't get a chance to get through it all because, you got kids and you got your old lady and you got all these things going on, don't worry. Every show is archived. It's archived on the Spreaker site. It is also archived on my website. It is also archived on iTunes, TuneIn, on YouTube as well. So anywhere that you are, you got your mobile phone with you. Spreaker also has an app, so you can always get a chance. You always get a chance to check out the show wherever you are. And as always, I say I appreciate you guys for checking out the show, man. People have been giving me some pretty good feedback. Just to be fair to you guys, I'm not really good at accepting like compliments and everything. I never ever. I don't think there's ever been a time where I've turned the mic off, either doing this show, doing a previous show on Spreaker or on the radio when I was working doing pedestrian radio. I've ever said, man, I really killed that. That was an awesome show. And it's just me. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something wrong and there's always something to be improved upon. So just know I do appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you guys just taking time out to listen to the show. Now, moving on. The weekend was cool, man. I ain't really do nothing. I'm not really that dude no more. I don't really do a bunch of running around and hanging out and all that kind of stuff. But I got out, took care of some business, washed the car a little bit. Went cruising. Clean car, you got to take it out cruising, right? So I did that. Watched a bunch of basketball, of course, because we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Season's coming to an end. We're at the final. Well, we were at the final 4 teams in each conference. Now we're like down to the final 3 in the East and still have the 4 in the West. So, of course, I'm going to talk about that and the things that I saw. We got to talk about the theme to this show is, when it's time to change. Knowing when it's time to change. The Atlanta Hawks got swept again, second year in a row, by the same damn team. The Cleveland Cavaliers swept out of the playoffs, and some conversations need to be had, man. I started on Friday when I had the conversation about the Hawks, kind of just throwing their names out there. Somebody mentioned the Hawks as it relates to the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. Everybody else is talking. Miami, even the Celtics. Greg Popovich can't stop swooning over this. They lost to them cats. Was it last night? And he's still like, yeah, man, that dude is awesome. Like, they're really putting the Spurs, putting their best foot forward to try to get Kevin Durant in the building. He's not holding back from complimenting them either. So if I had to guess if he was going to leave, and right now there's nothing pointing to that because the kid just went off for 41 against the Spurs the other night. So people initially were saying after game one, like, man, if the Spurs, because the Spurs blew them out, if this happens, KD's definitely going. Well, we got a series now, and we'll see what happens when it's all over with this Spurs just running the Thunder out of the building thing. It seemed like it was years ago, but it was just a few games ago that we saw it happen, and now there's actually a series going on. And credit KD, credit Russ, credit Billy Donovan, man, for making the adjustments and giving the Spurs everything they can handle. Also, yesterday was Mother's Day. I'm not a big holiday dude at all, man. Especially stuff like this, man. When it comes to like, celebrating, paying homage to the people you love, Mother's Day and things like that. Like every day, I wish I had the financial means, man, to make every day Mother's Day for my mom, man. And my Mother's Day really consisted of me apologizing, man, to my sister, to my mom. Like I shouldn't wait until this made up special day in May. You know what I'm saying, to tell my mom how much I appreciate it. And I don't. I tell her a lot that I appreciate and I love her. And sometimes I just sit around and just think about where my life would have been had it not been, for her. And me coming up, all the trouble and the heartbreak I put her through. So, yeah. And then for my sister, and my sister's raising my niece, man, by herself. And, she's doing a bang-up job, man. My niece is going to be 13 in July. And she's turned into a very respectful, a very nice young lady, man. And my sister deserves all the credit for that. And I told her the day before Mother's Day, actually Saturday, like, no, I shouldn't have to wait till tomorrow to tell you all this stuff. And I'm almost feeling embarrassed that I don't tell her more. That I'm proud of the job that she's doing with my niece, man. And it's not a game. So for all you people who was all on Facebook and had the I love mom, okay, you can go back to hating your mom today, because I guess that's what it is. You love your mom hard one day, and then the next day go back to doing what you was doing, because that's what it seems like. It's like setting your clock to love someone. So. That's my little spiel on that, man. But it's over now. We can get back. I guess the next thing coming up. No, the next thing coming up is Memorial Day. Yeah, because my mom's birthday is around that time. So, yeah, that's happening. But as far as today's show goes, of course, at the bottom of the hour, the 30-minute mark, we'll do our daily look back. I call it On This Day, where I give you guys some historical factoids about things that happened, specific events that happened on this particular day in history, sports-wise, I mean. Also, I mentioned, the NBA playoffs briefly, so we got to talk about what happened over the weekend. Steph Curry, looks like it's been reported, I think by ESPN, Darren Lavelle, I think, that Steph is going to be voted the MVP again this year, back-to-back MVPs. And it's funny that in Game 4, which is going to be going on tonight after I do the show, he may not play, or if he does play, he may come off the bench. I think this is the first time since they kept track of things like this that the reigning now MVP will come off the bench in a playoff game. I guess it's better than Dirk Nowitzki's playoff MVP season, where the Mavs got bumped. I don't even know why they don't do it earlier. You know what I mean? It's like someone can send someone a picture of their boobs in like 2 seconds now. You mean tell me that the writers or the people who vote on the MVP can't just like, okay, season's over with, game 82 done, who's your MVP? And we get that racked up like immediately? That can't happen? We gotta wait until the middle of the second round, excuse me, to say who the most valuable player is. But anyway, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the award itself. The fact that it's called the most valuable player. And I kind of alluded to some of this last week when I talked about Draymond Green possibly being the most valuable player on that team, the most valuable to the Golden State Warriors team. So we kind of got to dissect this thing. And the question that comes to mind is like, should it be changed? Should MVP be changed? Has it kind of run its course, and now it's so broad a term? It's so nebulous that you can kind of make an argument for a lot of people, and we'll talk about who those people are. I mentioned the Hawks being swept out. Now it's time for the Hawks to decide. Is it time for a change? whatever change, or are you just as a fan or as an organization? Are you content with what you are? And that being, you're not a bad basketball team. I don't even think, the Hawks are above average. You know what I mean? At one point, the Hawks were very average, 7, 8 seed. Now, in the Eastern Conference, take that for whatever you want to, but they're competing every year for one of those, upper echelon seats at the table in the Eastern Conference. But there is another level to be reached. You know what I mean? And if you didn't learn anything about the hierarchy, I guess you want to call it, in the Eastern Conference, it has a membership of one. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers are head and shoulders above any other team in the Eastern Conference. Now, but we got to talk about the Hawks. I want to do that for my people here in Atlanta, which is where I'm doing the show from. But I think it's a great continuation to the conversation we had on Friday about having the conversation about Kevin Durant, who is the most prized free agent coming up this summer. Also, I want to talk about the team that just beat the Atlanta Hawks. And, something just came to mind the other day. I was watching television. They were talking about the money that's being spent by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I remember at one point, man, it was like this big to-do about or with the New York Yankees. People used to always have a problem. I never did, but people had a problem with the Yankees seemingly paying or trying to buy championships. And it seemed to be like this, oh, man, it ain't real. Look, they spent all this money. Well, they got the money to spend, one. And, two, if it were your team and or the team you root for, and you were able to spend money the way the Yankees were, I'm sure you wouldn't complain. It was usually people who were not Yankees fans or not pro-Yankee. But I look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers have done in the NBA. They are far and away into the luxury tax more than any other team. Like, it's all chips to the middle of the table for them. But I don't really see anybody complaining. And I wonder out loud sometimes, like, is it because people don't really think they have a chance to win or didn't think they had a chance to win before seeing what they did to the Hawks? And I will caution everybody in this way. The NBA playoffs has a real sneaky way of sucking you in to feeling like the thing that you saw. I mean, I guess sports in general has a way of doing this. The thing that you saw last is either the best or the worst thing in the world. You understand what I'm saying? So you saw the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially in Game 2, dismantle the Atlanta Hawks. Well, there's a saying that I love to hear, like even basketball people use it. Styles make fights. Look at the series before that against the Pistons. You had a dude in the middle, Andre Drummond, that could kind of control some of those drives and that slashing to the basket. That don't exist here because Al Horford is now, he's a perimeter guy now, but on both sides of the ball. So you saw a lot of stuff open up, and you saw the Cleveland Cavaliers expose the Hawks bigs in the pick and roll game like it wasn't nobody's business. And they couldn't find an answer to it because of personnel. So I'd like to make sure that everyone kind of be cautious of that as we move on into the playoffs, because now they're going to have to play either a shorthanded Toronto team or what looks like to be a shorthanded Miami Heat team. We'll see. That series is going to boil down now to the ball handlers, to the perimeter guys. It's the One Mike with Big Mike show with me, Big Mike. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com. You guys, if you're listening to the show and you guys want to join the conversation like my guy Maceo Hurd has, make sure you guys click on that little thought bubble you see on the streamer. I think it makes you sign up for a Spreaker account, but don't worry, it's free. Maceo, if you're listening right now, you can tell me right now, did you have to sign up for an account to be able to join the chat room, or how did that work out? Or did they just use one of your other accounts? Or I don't know, because I don't. Here's a shame of me. Here's where I'm in shame, and I'll get back to setting up the show here in a second. I don't listen to a lot of sports radio, and it's not because I don't like it or because I think I'm so awesome because that definitely ain't the case. I don't. But I don't because I don't listen like a listener anymore. And so many times I don't like to hear people say stuff that I say because I don't want to ever feel like I'm taking from them for some reason. It's just weird, I know. So every now and then I'll listen. Like I got the Bluetooth speaker in the bathroom, so like, if I'm like taking a shower, I'll be listening to somebody, and that's probably about it. Like that 15 minutes or so that I'm in there, I'll listen. But I don't ever want. I don't. It's just this thing with me about like other things infiltrating my train of thought, the way I think. You know what I mean? I know it's weird, and I want to get better, man. Like with Maceo, I want to check their show out, man. They look like they're having a good time over there doing it, their situation. And I always make it a point to try to do it, but then something else happens, and then, I listen to my guy on Gerald Brown do the BLS Sports Show on Sirius from time to time. I check that out for. I'm so spurty at it. Every couple of minutes, I'll listen for a few minutes. I think. Well, I don't think I know. The research shows that's how most people listen to sports radio or listen to radio. They listen in spurts. That's why I'm always telling you guys, if you're listening to the show and you're hearing it live right now, I know you're not going to probably stick around for the whole 2 hours, but if you would like to come back, everything is archived. It's on my Spreaker page. It's on, where else? It's on my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. It's also on TuneIn, on the iTunes situation. Where else is it? Oh, on YouTube as well. So, yeah. So Maceo saying you can just log on through Facebook. You don't have to sign up for a bunch of stuff. So that's even better. So just go to the website, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE.com, One Mic with Big Mike. At the bottom, you'll see the streaming player. Then just click on that little thought bubble you see. And apparently you could just, if you got a Facebook situation going on, I believe I'm the last person on earth to sign up for a Facebook page, the last adult, because I just did it like, I don't know, a couple months ago when I started the show. Well, soon after I started the show is when I got on Facebook. So everyone should have it. I think I was the last guy on planet Earth, at least in America, to have one. But getting back to setting up the show, I also want to talk about, I want to catch up everybody. I know this is something I've been talking about, the HB2 law, the notorious North Carolina bathroom bill. Kind of came to a head today in North Carolina, so I want to update everyone on that, as well as update everyone on the situation, the new revelations, and there have been more revelations on the Jerry Sandusky scandal up there at Penn State. It's like so scumbaggish, man, and just the most douchebaggery in the history of douchebaggishness. You know what I mean? It's just, man, everything bad that could happen to that situation. You know what I meant to do, too? Because my wife is... I guess she attends. You could say she attends Penn State, but online she's studying for like another degree, and she emailed me yesterday. She sent me an email. She forwarded me an email that came from, I guess, the president of the school apologizing for all the hoopla going on around the whole the sexual abuse stuff. And I'm like, whatever. I ain't even read it, and I meant to look at it before I started the show, but maybe if it's about something, I'll bring it up again on Wednesday or whatnot. But, I've already kind of formulated my thoughts on the situation. The same thoughts I had before. I even have them even more now that more revelation and victims are starting to speak. This one dude is 60 years old, man. 60 years old, man. And he's still going to like therapy behind this kind of stuff. It's like ruining this dude. Yeah. I got no love, man. I have nothing in my heart for none of those folks, man. That these adults, man, that chose to protect themselves over kids and the innocence of kids. Yep, I'm good. I'm out. I have no compassion. None of that. I'm gonna be the first person to say that Joe Paterno got off easy by dying, man. You know what I mean? His ass should have been up there with all the people that are now awaiting trial, the president and whoever else, the administrators. Yeah, he should have been up there right with them, man. I don't even understand how that happens. Like, someone tells you that, your boy. Like, that's why I tell people all the time, I don't go hard like that for nobody, dude. Nobody. I don't give a damn how close you think we are. You start pulling foul stuff, I'm out, man. I used to have a dude, man, like my best friend is like my brother. Yeah, that dude want to start like putting his hands on his wife and all this kind of stuff. and like she works with my old lady. So at one point she came to work talking about if anything happens to me, he did it. And so I'm calling this dude and I'm like, hold on, man, that can't be the move, my man. And you know, he got mad with me about it or whatever, got mad with her about telling, quote unquote, telling their business. I was like, all right, it's good. I'm good. I know this dude since I was 12, 13 years old. I got no problems, man, disassociating myself from foolishness, man. None at all. Please believe it. So yeah, let's talk NBA playoffs. Tonight, if you're listening live, tonight what you got on TNT at 8, you're going to check out the Thunder and the Spurs in game, where are we at with that? We're in game 4 with that. Or we're in game 5? Where are we at? I think we're in game 5 with that, right? They tied up? I don't know. Forgive me, everybody. And then later on, we got game 4 of the Pistons, the Trailblazers and the Golden State Warriors, which, by the way, like, I love the way people, like, every couple of weeks now, people act like Dame Lillard is surprising them. Like, this dude balls, man. Like, damn all that. Like, I don't believe in putting credence on any, like, all-star games and, you know, because it's a popularity contest. And sometimes, especially in the NBA, it's a numbers game. Like, if you start looking at, like Russ and Steph and Chris Paul, and then you got Dame, like, somebody gonna get left out, man. So the fact that this dude didn't make the All-Star game, and you know, of course he is a star. Yeah, I don't put no credence on that. That dude balls, man. Like, and immediately after the All-Star game, this same Golden State team, he dropped like 50 on them coming out the break. So that whole thing with people, like, and after that game, I remember people like, yeah, look at that. Look what happened. Steph getting exposed. Like we talking about Shelvin Mack or something. Nah, this dude's a legitimate baller. He gets buckets in tons. Now, the thing we gotta think about is, can he, like, that's a lot of weight, man, for that dude to carry. You know what I mean? And I know he feels like he's up to it. He's one of those, one of those Oakland point guards who's got, swag through the roof. But the reality is, man, this Golden State team is it's a machine. I mean, it's a deep machine too. They go like 8, 9 dudes deep, and throughout the course of an every other day series, it doesn't seem like they're gonna have to get more production from McCollum, the kid with the African name that shoots the threes. I can't think of his name off top, but he's gonna have to keep playing at that high level. And he's gonna have to hope that Steph Curry comes back rusty, and then in him coming back rusty, that the Golden State Warriors turn the ball over at the same rate that they've been turning the ball over. It would not been, because that's been the saving grace without Steph. They've kind of, taken care of the basketball. They turn the ball over a lot when Steph's there. But he's able to make up with it because of his shot making. Now, in the last game, they gave that basketball away a lot. Also, Clay got off to a hot start, and then he cooled off in the second half. Like, if you're going to kind of rest your hopes on that happening, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's really going to pan out for you. Speaking of Steph Curry, he's been upgraded, I guess, to questionable for tonight, and then there's even been an option thrown out there that he may come off the bench. I think I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I did. Yeah, thanks for listening. Welcome back to the show, Mike. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. He may come off the bench today. So we'll see how that goes. Now, I'm all about that life, man, because you got to get that dude, I know he's playing 2-on-2 and 3-on-3 at practice, but you got to get that dude back acclimated to a playoff scenario. And I think doing it on the road, too, will help, getting in there, getting those, that crowd, that crowd noise from the other team, to kind of get him into the game, into the adversarial role. I'm all about that life. Plus, selfishly, I want to see the dude play ball. I want to see Steph, do Steph Curry things, man. Now, as we talk about Steph, and I'll go through the rest of the playoffs as the show goes on, but I want to get into, before I go to break here, I want to start this conversation about this MVP situation, because Steph now has become the MVP in back-to-back years. Now, it makes all the sense in the world that the dude who won MVP last year, whose scoring average, I think his scoring average jumped like 9 points this year. Yeah, that happened. He got better. He led the league in steals, or he's like top 2 or 3 in steals. I think he led the league in steals this year. So the dude who won MVP got better this year. And no one else really, like LeBron is LeBron. You feel me? Like that dude is just going to be that guy. KD missed a bunch of games last year, so obviously he got better this year. Russ kind of picked up where he left off last year. You know, the triple-doubles and doing amazing-ish. But Steph he set himself apart, and his team set themselves apart as well with the record, with the 74 games won. So as things would have it, you would say to yourself, yeah, this dude should win the MVP. Fast forward, it's playoff time now. The team doesn't have Steph, and you're starting to see dudes, you know, shine. You're starting to see Clay shine more. You're starting to see Draymond just do Draymond stuff. Dudes like Sean Livingston, Harrison Barnes, you would want more out of him. You know, I don't understand. Like, sometimes that dude just kind of falls asleep and disappears on us, man. Like, he's one of the more talented dudes on that team, like physically talented dudes on that team, but he tends to, like, disappear in stretches for the squad. But when you start talking about MVP, you start talking about valuable. I said last week that Steph is going to win the MVP, but it's quite possible, and I do believe this, and I've said it up all the way back to last season, that I think Draymond Green may be the most valuable player on that team and to that team because of everything he allows them to do and everything that he's able to do. That small ball lineup of depth, as they call it, impossible. Like, people try to emulate it, but it don't do the same thing with Draymond, the dude that, like, I saw him the other night. He gets the rebound, and it turns into a one-man break because he don't have to outlet the basketball. He gets the rebound and immediately pushes right now. It's to the point where you look at it. If you look at the play, they kind of showed the angle from, like, him coming at you. Clay is kind of just walking down the court. Klay Thompson's walking down the court. He doesn't even realize what's happening. And at the last minute, he realized and kind of, like, fans to the three-point line to give Draymond some space, and he goes straight to the goal in the end. 96 feet is a basketball court? Yeah. Not many fours can do that. You know what I mean? He makes the decisions on their team. Like, you see Steph get the rolling. You know why? They put that dude in pick and roll. They put the point guard. It's like people talking about the 1-5 pick and roll. It turns into a 5-1 pick and roll where Steph is the pick man. And then you're forced to make a decision, and Draymond's forced to make a decision, even when they try to trap Steph. When he's handling the ball, they try to trap him. The minute you do that, you try to trap him coming across half court, he gets the ball to the middle of the court, to Draymond Green. Now, they're basically running a half-court fast break 4-on-3. And it's up to him to make the decision to either shoot the ball, penetrate, drive and dish, make a pass in the lane, and he makes the right decision 90% of the time. So we got to come back. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about this whole MVP thing. We're going to do On This Day, and then we're going to talk about this MVP thing and maybe why you should change it, why it shouldn't be MVP anymore. And I'll tell you guys maybe what it should be. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show. Make sure you check out the website, onemicwithbigmike.com. You can hear me live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from that joint, as well as join the conversation via the live interactive chat room by clicking on the little thought bubble you see dancing around on the media player. You can sign in via your Facebook account. Just found that out today via my man Maceo. Appreciate that. And it'll take you to the chat room. You guys can jump in on the conversation as well and get your thoughts out there and let me know what you're thinking before I go to break. I was talking about the Hawks earlier, and Maceo said the organization will never, in capital letters, win it all. And I was talking about, spending money. The Cavs spending a lot of money and presumably buying a championship. And he said if you got it, spend it, with a bunch of all his comments got exclamation points behind them. So I come back. Make sure you guys follow me too. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. You can see some of the ignorant stuff I posted yesterday on Mother's Day. I found it hilarious and funny. Maybe you guys will too. So we'll do that next on the One Mic with Big Mike show.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The odds of a young girl being discovered by an industry insider while singing to herself pumping gas. 1 in 300 million. The odds of a daughter of a clergyman from Severn, Maryland, spending 11 weeks at #1 on the U.S. singles charts. 1 in 19 million. The odds of going on to win 7 Grammy Awards. 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of selling over 40 million records. 1 in 800,000. The odds of this musician and performer having a child diagnosed with autism. 1 in 68. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of the One Mic with Big Mike show. Appreciate you guys joining me on a Monday. I, of course, am Big Mike, heard right here on Spreaker.com. Remember, that's Spreaker.com, like speaker with an R in between the P and the E. Also on the app and on the website, my website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. Just going down to the bottom of the main screen, main page there. You'll see Listen Live. You guys can listen live right now and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock. You can also join the live interactive chat room by clicking on that little thought bubble you see dancing around on the media player. Let your thoughts be known. You can let your thoughts on me be known. If you hate the show, if you love the show, if you just want to vent about your wifey and her side dude, go right ahead. I'm here for you. So before we went to break, I kind of set everything up by talking about Steph Curry today, it being revealed or announced, I guess, that he'll be the back-to-back NBA MVP. But when that stuff happens, every year it happens, it sparks a different conversation. Like, there might be somebody more valuable to their team. Like you start hearing, like, Chris Paul, you start hearing, of course, LeBron James, his name comes up, and you get stuck on the V in the MVP. So we'll talk about how to fix that right after I do On This Day. It's our daily look back into the annals of sports. Every time I say annals, I think of my old partner Rob Calloway, because I used to say annals of sports, but it's not annals. I figured out the proper pronunciation, and now I have to use it. Thus risk continuing to sound like an idiot. So it's in the annals of sports, and we call it On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
Oh, well, I thought my music wasn't going to start. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is your Monday edition of On This Day. On this day in 1945, the new balata ball was used in baseball. It was 50% Lavillier. Now, I had to look this up because I wanted to make sure it was something worth talking about or worth mentioning. But yeah, it was. It was this new ball that they came out with. And apparently it was kind of impossible to hit. Where is it? Yeah, so right out of the gate, nobody could hit it. By the end of April, the league was hitting 223 with a 270 slugging average or slugging percentage. It was made, the balata resembles rubber, but it's not rubber. It's made out of a tropical tree and was normally used in the manufacturing of industrial gaskets and the insulation of our telephone lines. It lacks rubber's elasticity, and that would become painfully obvious once the ball was put into play. So yeah, it was a bad idea. I think by 1944 or by the end of the year, they tried to like tinker with it and get rid of it or make it better, but it never worked. So they got rid of it. And now we have the baseball that we're used to seeing now. On this day in 1984, the Chicago White Sox beat the Milwaukee Brewers 7-6 in 25 innings. Yeah, by my math, the Cobb County Public School math, it's like 2 games plus, B. Yeah, I'm good. It started on May 8th, and 8 hours and 60 minutes, 8 hours and 6 minutes later, the game was over. Nah, I'm good. On this day in 1987, at Comiskey Park, the Baltimore Orioles' Eddie Murray, he became the first Major League Baseball player to hit home runs from both sides of the plates in consecutive games. On this day in 1993, the Phoenix Suns, they beat the Los Angeles Lakers 112-104 in an overtime game to become the first NBA team to lose 2 playoff games at home, then come back to win 3 straight. On this day in 1995, the Cleveland Indians tied a record of scoring 8 runs before making it out. They beat the Minnesota Twins 10-0. On this day, that's the same team that beat the Braves, isn't it? The 95 Indians team. On this day in 1999, Marshall McDougal of Florida State hit 6 consecutive home runs and knocked in 16 runs. Both were records, of course, and they were set in a 25-2 victory over Maryland. And finally, in 2001, in Accra, Ghana, Africa, for those of you who don't know, at least 120 people died, Jesus, in a stampede at a soccer match. Let me tell you something. Yeah, them soccer dudes be rowdy, like the real ones, not like MLS, like those European and Africans, and they about a different type of life. Cause over there, when it comes to their teams, I don't know if you guys watch Vice. By the way, that is your Monday edition of On This Day. I don't know if you guys watch Vice, but Vice Sports has now. I think I mentioned this the other day. They've collaborated now with ESPN. They're part of ESPN now, and I think in the premiere episode, it talks about that. Like dudes out there talking about, yeah, I'm willing to die for this. Not dudes who play on the team, which would be weird anyway, but dudes who cheer for the team. All y'all be around here talking about, I'm a Falcons fan, ride or die. Huh, you don't even know what it means. You have no idea, B, of what you're talking about. Because there's folks over there where they play soccer at, that's for real about their life. They ready to actually die for the team they cheer for. Yeah, I'm good, cuz. I'm all the way live on that one, bro. Nah, not the kid. Anyway, let's get back to this MVP conversation. Steph Curry, back-to-back MVPs. But, you look at the situation as it stands now, how they've been able to perform in the playoffs without him. It causes you, it may cause you to question his value to the team. Not how good he is. He's the best player in the game, arguably. LeBron, there's a couple dudes. Like, and here's the other thing too. Like, stop telling me everybody's top 5. You ever hear that on and you listen to the broadcast? Like, everybody's top 5. Like, here's the deal. And I'm not into lists and ranking guys, but if you're gonna talk about the best players in the league, there's more than 5 of them. You know what I mean? You got Steph. Once you get past who? Once you get past Steph, LeBron, Curry, and Kawhi, you still got to talk about Russ and KD. You still got to talk about James Harden. You still got to talk about Chris Paul. I mentioned earlier guys like Dame Lillard in that kind of next tier ish. You know what I mean? So you start talking about top 5. Who are they? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's weird, but anyway, if you can make the argument that Steph Curry is the best player in the league, right? But there's more of an argument to have now as to how valuable he is. Like, look at that squad in Cleveland. Look at JR and Kevin Love and Kyrie and who else? Tristan Thompson and Channing Frye now. Okay, how good are they without LeBron? And then that's to me one aspect. I heard somebody mention today, the award is, I think it was Tracy McGrady said, the award is how valuable are you to your team? Says who? I've never seen that definition. What if it's how valuable you are to the league? Because if you look at value to the league, maybe Steph Curry is the most valuable. Because the league here in the last, 3 years maybe, has changed so dramatically or drastically how the game is being played now. Like the game is really played outside in, whereas for such a long time it was played inside out. It's really now played outside in. So maybe Steph Curry's value to the league is that the fact that the way we've seen things come together, he is kind of the poster boy for the 3-point shot. A lot of, of course, people have been hitting them before. A lot of people have been hitting threes. But first of all, no one with the frequency of this cat, that's a fact. He has the most threes in a year, back-to-back years. He's broken his own record in back-to-back years, so that is factual. No one shot and hit more threes than Steph ever. So maybe that's part of the argument. The thing that I would probably do, or like to see done, is just scrap it. Scrap the whole award. Scrap the whole MVP thing, because there's too much leeway in it. There's too much interpretation to be put into it. Now, if you change it to the MOP, the most outstanding player, well, I think we can all, as a consensus, say the most outstanding player this year was Stephen Curry, without a doubt. And maybe it's part of the master plan of the NBA, right? To keep it that way so that every year we have this same stupid conversation. You know what I mean? It's like Groundhog Day. Like every year, it's like, LeBron won it, but what if you took Chris Paul off of the Clippers? You start, what if, and if was a fifth, and if my grandma had nuts and all this kind of craziness, yeah. And shout out to you if your grandma actually does have nuts. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show, by the way. Oh, God. Shout out to my man Mark Cooper, man. He's in the chat room. You guys can join him and Maceo in the chat room by going to the website, onemicwithbigmike.com. And on the streaming player, you'll see a thought bubble dancing around. Just click on that thought bubble, and you can sign in with your Facebook account and join the conversation. My man Coop was was in the hospital. I saw his Facebook post that he's hopefully out of that joint, man, and feeling better. And my man, from with everything, man, take care of yourself, brother. On some serious stuff. I know, we exchange real silly barbs back and forth about dumb stuff, but on some realness, man, yeah, you home good, man. Take care of yourself, brother. You don't want to go back. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's change the award. Getting back to the conversation, let's change the award to the most outstanding player, and there'll still be conversation to be had, obviously, because it's not every year that a dude is going to have, first of all, a 9-point jump. The MVP, is going to have a 9-point jump in scoring average, become a better defender, become more efficient at scoring. He's playing like 3/4 of the game, three quarters of the time. You know what I mean? And still led the league in scoring. Yeah, that's ridiculous. So you're not going to see that every year. So there'll still be a conversation to be had about who's the most outstanding player. Let's go back to last year, right? There was a significant argument to be made, and I think I made it, for James Harden to be last year's most valuable player. When you start looking at what he had to do and what he had to do it with, Dwight Howard missed like 2/3 of the game of the year last year. So it's like him and Corey Brewer and and Trevor Ariza and cats like that playing ball and getting to the Western Conference Finals. Now, of course, MVP is awarded before you get to the Western Conference Finals, but based on like what he did even during the regular season with that squad, there was a very, very good argument to be made that James Harden was last year's MVP, even to the point where when they had the Players Awards, the players now have their award that they give out that they vote on themselves. He was voted the MVP, not Steph Curry. And I think, I know people like to say Steph Curry took it as a slight, but in reality, I don't think you go wrong in either. It's one of those rare occasions where I'm kind of going to say you can flip a coin, and either one you could find ways to substantiate it, and you can also find ways to unsubstantiate it. So yeah, call it the most. I think that's what they do in the NCAA. They call it the most outstanding player because I think it's easier to swallow. The ocular way of presenting it. You've seen what Steph does, and seen the ridiculous ill crap that he does on the basketball court, it stands out, thus outstanding. But value is something that, it's like, perfect segue here. It's like the next thing I want to talk about. As we talk about change, right? Is it time for a change? We talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Value. I don't know how many people in the city know this, but at this time next year, if I'm talking to you guys at this time next year, I'll probably be talking about Al Horford as one of the top 3 highest paid players in the league. Now, you say, well, damn, he ain't worth that. Well, you'll be wrong. If somebody pays it to him, he's worth it. That's how worth is determined. You know what I mean? Based on who got the checkbook, not the dude who's like got just an opinion in College Park somewhere. No, the dudes with the checkbook, they determine worth. So somebody's gonna pay Al Horford $25 million a year. The first question is, if you're an Atlanta Hawks fan, how you feel about that being your team doing that, based on where your team is now. They're kind of in a holding pattern. And next year, Jesus Christ. See, this is the idiocy I'm talking about. Coop's in my chat room talking about bring back John Battle. Like John Battle somewhere praising the Lord or something, dude. Handing out communion wafers or something. and Antoine Carr. Who the hell knows where Antoine? He's probably still somewhere getting dunked on by Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? No one knows. Speaking of, you know what I should do? I get my dude Kevin Willis on the show. Kevin Willis is always, it's been some years, but he was real gracious with us, man. And, yeah. So Cooper saying as a Hawks fan that hell no, Al ain't worth it. So then you got to ask yourself another question then. And by the way, let me give you guys, for my Hawks fans that are listening, this is what next year is going to look like. Al comes off the books next year. He made $12 million this year. He's not under contract for next year. Kurt Heinrich, after $2.8 million this year, is off the books. Kent Bazemore, another decision that has to be made, $2 million this year. Kent Bazemore is he's in line for a hell of a raise. Then there's Mike Muscala, again, comes off the books. And, Chris Humphrey, former Mr. Kardashian. He'll come off the books as well if the Hawks don't choose to re-sign him. The Hawks are in a pretty crazy place right now. The guys on the team, and I guess you look at it and maybe you say, well, Mike, what are they supposed to say? And I'm going to tell you guys what I'm referencing here in a minute. Because, they had to talk when the season was over with. Because the Cavs, once again, in case you missed the beginning of the show, the Cavs swept the Hawks out of the playoffs once again. The Hawks have they've won 108 games in the last 2 seasons. That's a pretty, that's a pretty nice, out of 164, you take home 108. Yeah, you can't really dance with that too much, man. That's some good business. But, you got, again, the situation with Al Horford. He's going to turn 30 in a couple months. Next month, Al Horford will be 30 years old. So Al got one more time, man, to cash in on like one of those max 5-year situations. And the Hawks are going to be in a position where they've got to make that decision. Is Al Horford the guy? Because the money's going to be there. You feel me? I just ran down to you the contracts that are going to come off. And then the salary cap is going to explode from whatever it is, 72 this year to like 90-something next year. It's going to explode. So dudes are going to get like mad, crazy, crazy money. Starting with LeBron and Kevin Durant. And then everyone else will fall in behind that situation. Now, God, Coop. You got LIG, man. You got LIG, baby. You know what I mean? Coop's in the chat room, and he's like, the Hawks wouldn't be in this mess if they drafted Chris Paul instead of Marvin Williams. Of course they were. Look at the Clippers. Like I was talking to who was I talking to? Steve Wilson, the co-host of the DL Hughley show. He's out there in L.A. and I asked him, and I told him I gave him the mentality kind of the people here in Atlanta as it relates to the Hawks. A team that like kind of toiled around with mediocrity and was bad for a while, and now they're kind of in that upper echelon now. But still here locally, there's this attitude that's like, oh man, the shoe is gonna drop, and when it drops, it's gonna drop hard. And usually people are right. And I asked him if it was that same type of mentality out in L.A. with the Clippers, because here I called them Hawks West. You know what I mean? They got pieces in place. They got Blake and they got DeAndre, and of course they got, as Coop mentioned here, Chris Paul. But what have they done? Absolutely nothing. And it's kind of even worse because they're still second fiddle in their own city to a bum ass team. You know what I mean? Like the Clippers don't really move the meter like the Lakers do. And the Lakers win like 12 damn games, or whatever, 12, 17 is all the same to me. Yeah, that Chris Paul thing got to ride. The same way y'all have conveniently down here let the Darren Williams thing ride. Yeah, I ain't gonna never let y'all live that down. So stop saying Chris Paul now, because before it was like, man, we could have had Darren Williams or Chris Paul. Now all of a sudden that Darren Williams has turned into a bum, you kind of just delete his name out of the statement, and it's only Chris Paul left. Come on, man. Let me tell you what I did the other year. Like a couple years ago, I got on the air and I read Marvin Williams. I read his draft report, but I didn't read it with his name under it. I just read what was said about him going into the draft. And people was like, hell yeah, I'll take that dude. Yeah, that's Marvin Williams. So that whole idea that, man, you made a hell of a mistake. Why? Because a dude getting drafted said he wanted to play here. Okay, that happens all the time. You know, it just happened to be this time that the dude is like an all-timer. The perennial all-star guy. But the reality is Chris Paul ain't won no more. He hadn't won any more. You feel me? Than Jeff Teague has. You know what I mean? It hadn't happened. Which Jeff Teague is going to be another situation, you know, because he's due to make like $8 million next year. That makes him great trade bait, especially with the amount of trust that Coach Budenholzer has been putting into Dennis Schroeder here lately. My God, he finished he played the whole fourth quarter, had an opportunity at the end of the ball game to make something happen, but you know, it's just, who was that talking, man? Oh God, was Hubie Brown. I love Hubie, man. Like anytime I get the chance to listen to that versus what we got here locally, all day, man. And Hubie just kind of broke it down. He was like, "Look, here's what's real. The Hawks just ain't got the talent." I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, he used the word talent, by the way. He's like, "Nah, the talent just ain't there. You know, the will to win is there, but the bodies just ain't there, man, and that's real." So going forward, when I'm talking about making a change, you got to get a body, man. Or, because there's two ways to do it, man. You can sit around and wait. You feel me? You can sit around and wait, and hopefully you get into a situation where, you know, you are in the conversation for one of the great ones like Kevin Durant, which is, you know, crapshoot. Or, with another crapshoot, you tank it on out, man. You tear this whole thing down, and you draft your great player, because that's how it's done. There's only one or two ways to do it, man. Very few times you're going to get a dude like just discover some D-League dude and just turn him into this awesome basketball. Nah, it's basketball, man. It don't really work like that. Like, you can do that in football. Antonio Brown, yeah, you can do that with him. Or guys like Alfred Morris, and yeah, it works in football. Basketball, nope. Nah, you got to go get that dude. I was talking about what the players were talking about, you know, after the game. By the way, getting back to Al Horford, you know, cover your ears, Hawks fans. This dude had 14 rebounds in 4 games. This is your center. Ugh. Yeah, that ain't good. As a team, they got out rebounded 74-32 in 3 of the 4 games by Tristan Thompson, of course, and Kevin Love and LeBron James, the whole front court, the starting front court. So they asked Jeff Teague. What do the Hawks need to add this offseason? in typical Jeff Teague fashion, quote, probably some size, I'm guessing. Some more scoring. I don't know. End quote. That's a quote from Jeff Teague. In the same way I said, you know, you can't overreact to what's going on in the playoffs, and that's a big time theme here. Overreact. You know, they're terrible. Oh God, the Hawks are the worst thing ever. No, they're not. They're a good basketball team, but that's all they are. They're just good. You know, This is a team that they played, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They made 77 3-pointers, man, in 4 games. You feel me? 77 threes in 4 games. Now, a lot of that was the way they were kind of they were covering them or whatever. Man, this dude, y'all got to get in this chat room, man. Go to my streamer, man, and click on that thought bubble, man. This dude Coop is just like losing. He out the hospital now. Like everything is. He want Paul George. He want Anthony Davis. He talking about how Chris Paul and made Tyson Chandler better and David West and DeAndre Jordan. But it hasn't come to anything. Like, what you're telling me is that basically you'll have a star point guard, but the team will be in the same place. Okay. I don't know. But anyway, so they asked Paul, not Paul, but yeah, Paul Millsap. I was confusing myself, Chris Paul and Paul Millsap, about, anyway, let me get back to Jeff Teague. I'm sorry. Jeff Teague continued because they asked him about getting that guy, a star player, like a Kevin Durant type of guy in this. And this is an ESPN article that I'm reading this from. Asked him how a star player would fit in the system. This is the worst answer ever. Quote, it's difficult to say because the way we play, a great player has to fit in, end quote. He goes on to say, quote, a lot of great players play with the ball and have ISO situations and things like that. And that is just not how or the way we play basketball, end quote. Yeah, you play that way because you don't have that guy. It seems to work pretty well in San Antonio. And basically, what Jeff is understanding is that having that guy doesn't mean that the offense has to stop and revolve around that player. But when you need a bucket, man, there are times when teams are making runs at you that you need a bucket. Who in the hell are you going to get it from? With the Hawks, man, it's like flip a coin, man. It could be Paul, it could be Al, it could be Corver, it could be Schroeder. And I think it helps knowing, man, who that dude is, man. Like when it's nut cutting time, like who's the dude that's gonna get you out of a bad situation or help you put the nail in the coffin of the other team. And the Hawks don't have that, man. They just don't. And in the playoffs, that fact becomes a glaring one. I'm looking for the Paul Millsap quote here and the Al Horford one. Al Horford talking about the way Mike Budenholzer plays, or the Mike Budenholzer style of football or basketball. He says, quote, I believe it in my heart. I believe that the way we play makes us successful, and we have to figure out how we can take that next step as a group, end quote. You can't. I'll tell you that right now. You are what you are. You know what I mean? Finally, from Paul Millsap, who started the game, the last game, 15 points in the first quarter. That dude pulled a Patrick Ewing, finished with 19. How? How did that happen? How you score 15 in the first and 4 for the other 3 quarters? There's a problem, man. You gotta have that dude, man. Because Paul's a good player, but the pressure it takes for a dude that's an average to above average player to be great, yeah, man, you better off getting a strawberry to be an apple. Anyway, he says, quote, if they keep everybody here, I think we will continue to grow with each other. We will get better. We will get to the next level. Man, they selling wolf tickets down there at Phillipsby. If you're a fan of the Hawks, don't believe that crap, man. Don't, yeah. See, and Coop's bringing up old stuff. Why you gotta bring old stuff up? I was talking about last year, man. Coop kind of talked about he was picking the Cavs to beat the Warriors, I think, and I said the Cavs just ain't got enough bullets, man. You know, and it ended up bearing out. You know, everybody was hanging. Everybody was eating that deli sandwich, and deli became deli. You know. And Steph became Steph, and then Andre Iguodala showed everybody that, you remember me? I used to make those all-star games too, and then everything went to hell, and then 6 games later it was over with, and then Steph Curry and the boys had a championship. But yeah, the Hawks don't have no bullets, man. Not for the playoffs. Like that regular season stuff is cool. You playing in the East, you know, get it how you live, man. Eat. But in the playoffs, man, the league shows you, man. The league tells you, and everybody wanted to start pointing back to those Pistons teams. There's a reason Chauncey Billups' his nickname changed to Mr. Big Shot. Because they had a dude that was going to give them big shots when they needed them. That dude don't exist here in the A, man. It just ain't. You know what I mean? So figure it out. Sink or swim. Either to me, get somebody to put it out there, man. I know the whole tampering thing is going on. You can't really just talk about Kevin Durant, but the Miami Heat, the Boston Celtics, the Spurs, the Golden State Warriors early in the season. Some kind of way there were stories written about those people being interested in Kevin Durant's services. The Washington Wizards since last year. I'm saying, man, get on board, man. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm going to take a break. We're at the top of the hour, so I'm going to take a break here. Come back, wrap this conversation up. Then I want to, let's see. I want to give you guys the update on the HB2 situation and get more in depth into this Cleveland Cavaliers situation as far as paying for championships go, and if that's exactly how it's going to be considered. Let's say they win the championship this year, man. How will it be? How will people? I don't know if I want to call it justified, but how will people accept it? You know, especially because it's LeBron. You know how y'all feel about that dude. Anyway, we'll come back right here at Spreaker.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also on the website, OneMicWithBigMike.com. I'll be right back.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cool time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
One mic. All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Second hour, right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. You guys make sure you check me out on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. And I appreciate everybody who's spreading the word too, man, who's telling a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. I definitely appreciate that, man. You guys check me out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, like I said, on Spreaker, Spreaker. Also on the website, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. One Mic with Big Mike. And jump on in the live interactive chat room, man, via that little thought bubble you see dancing around. Wherever you're listening, you see a thought bubble on the streamer, the audio streamer. Just click on that, man, and apparently you can just sign in with your Facebook account, and they get you right up in here. And Coop is, I think my man Makesio bounced out. He got to start his show. They got a show on Sensation. Look at me promoting other people's show during mine. I think it's a Sensation Network, Crush Sports Talk. I think they start at 8, man. But yeah, you can get in here with Coop silly ass talking about he using his barbershop. You know what? Barbershop logic. Let me finish the statement before. You know what I saw this weekend? I saw between the games yesterday, Harlem Nights was on. You know how long it's been since I seen that, man? Like the regular, not the TV version, like on cable. Man, that's a funny, man. That was one of the funniest movies ever, man. And the cast of that movie, my God. Like, I don't even, what would be like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, what would be the modern day version of that? Because that movie, like, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Robin Harris, Charlie Murphy's in that joint. Who else, man? Della Reese. Golly, man. Yeah, man. That damn show. Arsenio Hall's in that joint. Miguel Nunez. Like a bunch of funny ass dudes, man. Like, the only thing I think that's comparable, man, is probably Life, man. You know what I mean? Eddie and Martin and Guy Torrey, friend of the show, Guy Torrey. Anthony Anderson, of course, the late great Bernie Mac. Yeah, man, that's got to be the only like black comedy that could compare to that, man. Like modern day, like what would it be now? Like Chris Rock, Chappelle. Who else would be in that joint? Martin again, I guess. Like who else is like hot in the game? Young new, I guess the kid Carmichael, Gerard Carmichael. He's a funny ass dude. Kevin Hart. Yeah, I guess that would be like comparable, man, to what they did, man. They got all those greats, man, on one movie and killed that joint, man. Like if it wasn't for the game, I'm gonna be honest with you. If it wasn't for the game, I probably would have watched it again. You know what I mean? This ain't a word that shot my pinky toe off. Oh man. And then, they threw Jasmine Guy in there for like, to add some sexy to it. Even my man Tommy from Martin, which by the way, why is his name Tommy in real life and Tommy in everything that he does? Like his name was Tommy Smalls in the movie. So Tommy from Martin was in the joint. Jesus, man. That's an awesome movie, man. I might check that joint out again before the week is out, man. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I don't know how. It just came to my mind. It just came to my mind that, like, man, they should like redo that, man. Nah, leave it alone. I'm not really big on that. I guess you could put like Cat Williams in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, it's a lot of funny dudes, man. But I guess when you talk about the greats, man, like Robin Harris gone, Red Fox gone, of course, Richard Pryor gone. Yeah, man. Who else is gone from that movie? Charlie Murphy. Nah, Charlie Murphy ain't gone. You just ain't heard from him in a while, I guess. But anyway, back to the situation here. Let me straighten my tie up. Of course, I don't have on no damn tie. We're going to get into that conversation one day, too. Just me and the whole, like, people having to wear suits to talk about sports is one of the weirdest things to me, man, of all time. Like, I haven't figured out when that became a thing, and I don't know why it's become a thing. And then people have the nerve. Like, I don't understand complimenting someone on a suit. Like, if it's four dudes sitting around, like, man, you sharp. We on the same damn thing. It's a different color, but we on the same damn thing. It's a coat and some pants. And you got on a different tie and shirt and pocket square than I do. But everybody on the same thing. You're like, man, you look sharp in that tie. Well, I guess you do too, because it's the same damn thing. We both got it on. I don't know. It's weird to me. It's as weird as baseball managers wearing uniforms, like 70-year-old, Whitey Herzog and what's the dude's name? Tommy Lasorda, Bobby Cox wearing a baseball uniform. And I actually did read on this day a few weeks ago, a couple episodes ago, that it was a point in time where the manager actually put himself in as a pinch hitter. And then my man Rob Calloway, former co-host of the Sports King with me, sent me this article about managers wearing where it started, and it was because of how things were positioned. Like, the manager wasn't always the manager. There was a up top manager, And then the names of positions changed. Now you have the general manager and you have the on-field manager, but he wasn't always that person. A lot of times he was also a player too. But at this point, yeah, kind of go ahead and ride that out. You know, you kind of like baseball is. That's why me and baseball can't be friends, man. They just won't change, like stupid stuff. And I have a large, like my propensity for accepting your reasoning for having something the way it is because it's always been that way. I'm going to immediately say slavery. If that's the case, slavery should still be here. Yeah, things got to change, man. When you figure out something stupid and it don't belong anymore, you got to change them. I mean, like, don't be that. Yeah, you know, black people not being able to marry white people, of course. That's just, well, there are people who still believe that should be a thing. Someone posted something the other day. It was a couple, a white dude and a black woman, or a white woman and a black dude, something like that. And the caption was, do you still have a problem with this? And I was like, does anybody? It's 2016. Like, what the hell's happening? And look at me being a pro. It's a perfect segue to an update I want to give you guys on the HB2 law, the controversial quote-unquote bathroom bill in North Carolina. Today they were given a deadline of today, and I'm gonna have my dude Alec on from 99.9, I think it's 99.9 The Fan in Greensboro, before the week is out. I talked to him a little while ago and told him that this was gonna happen. You know what I mean? That we're gonna talk about this because he said it's a big it's a big deal, and people are really talking about it on the show that he produces up there. And today was they were given a deadline today to either basically piss or get off the pot, either end it or say you're gonna keep it because of some things that's gonna happen if you decide you're gonna keep it. All right. Sorry, I got to make sure I find the right article that I clipped out. All right. So today, like I just mentioned, the North Carolina government and the university officials, yeah, because they're federally in English funded. They were given until Monday to tell federal attorneys whether they would stop enforcing the new law that blocks LGBT protections. And I'm gonna stop right there, man, because I think that's an important thing to highlight. Like, it's been given this name, this bathroom bill, and people want to think that it's all about people being able to or not being allowed to use specific bathrooms. While that is a part of it, that is not the entire bill. It's a bill that also strips the protections of people who are of who are in the gay, the lesbian, the trans community, meaning that if I manage an apartment complex, I can state that my religious beliefs don't agree with your lifestyle, so I'm not going to grant you housing here. Or if I'm a doctor, I can say, because of my religious belief, which is always funny to me that doctors are religious people. That's always like one of those things that it kind of just weirds me out, but it's what it is. But when doctors, not all doctors, but when doctors are religious people. But a doctor can say that, yeah, guess what? I believe in this and not what you are, so I won't treat you. It just feels like so many times, like, if you're a rational person, it would just, something inside you would say, that don't sound right. Like, whatever you believe in is what you believe in, whatever. But just the human in you should be like, that shouldn't be a thing. Like, if somebody is sick, it shouldn't matter what you believe in. You should just believe in getting them better, if that's your job to do that. So it's weird. The Republican governor up there, his name is Pat McCrory. MCCRORY, McCrory, in case you're wondering. He says this. He said the Justice Department is, quote, the Justice Department is, quote unquote, trying to define gender identity, and there is no clear definition for gender identity. I'm not sure what that necessarily means. You know what I mean? Like, here's the deal with me. I'm willing to accept whatever you say. If you're in a certain situation, like me and one of my hosts would have we had a conversation one time about people choosing to be gay or people being born gay, and it wasn't a matter of I was saying one or the other was true. I was saying that I'm not going to make that call for somebody else because I know of situations. My sister-in-law, she proclaims to choose that she's a lesbian. Now, and I've heard other people proclaim that they were born gay. Look, if you tell me that, I'm just going to believe you because I've seen science on how a person can be born gay. And they kind of, just to not get too technical about it, everyone knows what a hermaphrodite is, someone who's born with both reproductive organs. Well, that's because your brain sends a signal, but when it's supposed to send a signal to say, okay, this thing is going to be a male. So your body starts producing the chemicals that produce male parts, right? But sometimes the brain can malfunction and send two signals, and it produces both. Well, if you believe that can happen, and because it does happen, there's evidence of it happening, physical evidence of it happening, people are born that way, well, then you can also believe that the brain can send the wrong signal, can still send one signal, but send the wrong one physically, but mentally, and inside of you, you're a female, but you have male genitalia. Your insides don't match your outside. So, if you say to me that that's your situation, why am I going to argue about it? Like, my old lady came home one day, and this is one of the funniest things ever. A gay dude and a lesbian chick were arguing at her job to the point of almost a physical altercation. Tears were being shed over whether they, both being in the gay community, were born that way or chose to be that way. Now, I can't remember who was on what side of the argument, but my overall point is, if two people who are gay can't come to a consensus on how they came to be that way, I don't have no place in the argument. I have no place. Like, I believe both of you, in essence. So this thing in North Carolina is getting, like, hella serious. Like, lawsuits have been bantered around. Is that the word I'm looking for? Bantered around? Whatever. So the governor goes on to say that he wasn't aware of any North Carolina cases of transgender people using their gender identity to access a restroom and molest someone, because that's the talking point, right? It's like, oh man, so now you telling me a dude that says he's a woman could just go into a restroom and molest my daughter? Yeah, because the people who are sick enough to do that kind of stuff and deranged enough to do that kind of stuff, yeah, they're just sitting back waiting on a law to allow them to do it. Like, we gotta get. I said it to my dad one day. My dad said that to me. He's like, man, the thing is, you just can't allow dudes to go into the bathroom. There's not a guard there. At most public restrooms, they don't have a guard there checking ID for gender. So if some dude is twisted enough to put on a dress and a wig and whatever else, just to go into a bathroom and molest a little girl, it's going to happen. As horrible as it is, it's going to happen anyway. That person ain't waiting on the law, B. But when I try to explain to people, I told my wife the other day, because her mom didn't understand. Her mom's a real religious woman, and she don't understand. I told her, just tell her to put it in the same vein as Jim Crow, because the same thing that birthed Jim Crow is birthing this. It's people of a certain religious ilk or a certain belief that are angry and they need some sort of retribution. When Jim Crow was brought about, it was because of slavery ending. So the people in the South said, you know what? Damn that. We not finna take this L. We'll create laws that say, yeah, you might not be my slave no more, but you still ain't on my level, B. Same thing here. The federal government says gay people can get married. Oh yeah? Watch this then. If that's the case, then you can't eat in my damn restaurant. Your kids can't come to my my daycare center. I don't have to let you I don't have to provide you somewhere to live. Same thing, it's retribution. And that can't be a thing, man. So, in that same vein, this governor says, quote, he says, we can definitely define the race of people. It's very hard to define transgender or gender identity. That's a stupid comment in and of itself. By the way, that's a quote. That's a stupid comment. There's plenty of people who you can't identify their race just by looking at them. You know, I saw a story the other day about a girl who was approached and kind of verbally attacked by a dude telling her that Mexicans are ruining, your people are ruining this country. I can't wait till we get that wall up. And she was like, but wait, I'm not Mexican, I'm Native American. So apparently it's not as easy as this governor seems to think it is, that you can just look at somebody and tell what their race is. So, you know, that in that way, there is no comparison. Nah, don't listen to that. If you black and you hear that, just put that into the malarkey pile. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. Now, as far as the things that they stand to risk, the state of North Carolina, the campus of the 17 campuses in the University of North Carolina system, you know, I don't know how many people noticed, but the University of North Carolina is just not it's not a self-sustaining thing. Like the Tar Heels, when you hear about, you know, University of North Carolina at Wilmington, or like Georgia Gwinnett College is a part of the University of Georgia system. I went to Tennessee Tech University, so it's a part of when I get my diploma or I get my degree, it's going to be as though, or the same as me getting a degree from the University of Tennessee, because it's in the University of Tennessee system or tree or whatnot. So there's 17 campuses. They risk losing more than $1.4 billion in federal funds if they don't comply. Like, it's getting to that point where threats are being bandied out. Another $800 million in federally backed loans for students who attend the public universities, because again, they are publicly funded. That would be at risk if it's found that enforcing the laws violates Title IX. There's Title IX again, the Civil Rights Act, which bars discrimination based on sex. The law also violates Title VII. We don't really hear about Title VII, but that title is about employment discrimination. Like, you can't tell somebody they can't work here because they're gay or they're straight or they're whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever your sexual orientation is. So, the president of the University of North Carolina, she's like, yo, get rid of this thing. Change the law. Because in the end, man, even if it's something that you believe in, like, for the greater good. It happened here in the state of Georgia. It happened here. When the bill got to Governor Nathan Deal, and by that time when he was talking about ain't no Super Bowl coming here, all these companies who have been taking advantage of these tax breaks for making movies and TV shows here was like, nah, we can't do business in this state if it's gonna be like that. Yeah, immediately vetoed. No anti-gay bill in Georgia, and that doesn't mean. And I talked to my guy, Wade Davis. He's a big LGBT advocate. He's a gay man, and I talked to him about getting kind of just getting the win. Even though it's not an overall win in the way of people's mindsets changing and people just being like, all right, you're different than me. I'm fine with that. And I don't ever want to I don't want to label it as tolerance, because you tolerate mosquitoes when you're at the lake fishing, right? You tolerate them. No, this is about accepting people as the same as you. You know what I mean? They just have different preferences. That's it. But for some reason, man, and I ain't gonna say for some reason, like it's some sort of mystery, it's based in people's religious beliefs. You know what I mean? And people will now start using those in order to discriminate against people and to try to turn themselves into the persecuted. The persecutors turning themselves into the persecuted. Nah. It's so, it's just so ridiculous that things have to get to this point where folks are actually suing for regular rights, for the things that I guess you could say many of us take for granted now, but they haven't always been all right. And I mean R as speaking as a black man. They haven't always been black people's rights. You know what I mean? The same way gay people, you know, were struggling and fighting about being able to get married. Black people fought for that same right, man, when it came to like interracial marriages. The same thing, man. Dudes was getting killed and lynched behind that kind of stuff. It's real, man. There are some real parallels that are going on within this thing, and I think it's incumbent upon the people, and I say this a lot, I know, and I'm going to keep saying it's incumbent upon the people who, if you feel like this is a gay, lesbian issue, you know, like you say abortion is a women's issue, but no, if your belief is that people should just have certain rights, well, it's your issue too, and you should make it your issue, and you should allow your voice to be heard on the issue, and not just say, well, it ain't got nothing to do with me, so I'm good. Nah, I mean, you got the right to do that, but I don't believe personally, man, that that's, you know, the right way to go about it. I'm gonna read you guys like a couple more things on this so that you're all caught up to speed on what's going on. I mentioned before that the law is not just about the bathrooms, right? It excludes lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people from state anti-discrimination protection. It's like for black people. I'm always I'm gonna put it into these terms as much as I can so that people can understand what the parallels are. It's like affirmative action for black people, right? To make sure that at least the opportunity is there for us, and it's not allowed that we're disqualified because we're black or because anyone is of any race. Same thing here. The gay, lesbian community and the trans community, they want to have those same protections to where it is. And I'll sue your ass if I find out that you're not hiring me, that you're hiring people that are less qualified than me because, you know, it's a dude that likes another dude or a woman that likes another woman or whatnot. Back to my man, Governor McCrory. He filed a federal lawsuit, and his argument is that the North Carolina law is, quote unquote, a common sense privacy law, or privacy, end quote, and that the Justice Department's position is, quote unquote, baseless and a blatant overreach. Now, to give you guys some history before I get out of this segment on how all this came to be, the city of the capital city, Charlotte, they actually passed a law which included protection for the LGBT community in the city, and the state found out about it, and they wanted to come and override that. The same thing, consequently, they're accusing the federal government of doing to them. You know, like, this is our problem. You guys shouldn't have a say. Well, the city of Charlotte is saying the same thing. You know, we're the capital city. We're what people, for the most part, associate North Carolina with, the city of Charlotte. Bank of America is there. The Charlotte Hornets are there. The Super Bowl runner-up in the Carolina Panthers are there. There's some money going through Charlotte, man, and they want to keep it coming through there. But you know, when people get stuck on their stupid religion, man, and I don't care about offending people, man, because when it comes down to this, man, like, believe what you want to, but when it comes down to mistreating people, like, where is that in the line of your belief system? You know what I mean? So the Justice Department came back, and I read you guys a quote about the gender identity, and they say, quote, gender identity is innate, and external efforts to change a person's gender identity can be harmful to a person's health and well-being. Yeah. And what they're talking about is forcing someone who identifies as a woman to use a male's bathroom. You know what I mean? And like I said, I keep telling you this. I don't know about y'all. I go in the bathroom to accomplish something, you know, to vacate waste from my body. I wash my hands and I leave. I'm not paying attention to nobody and what they doing. It's so weird, man, that it's come to this, man. Because I would assume that somebody who was transgender was already doing this before these people said you can't. Someone who identifies as a woman was already going to the ladies' room without any consequence. Like no reports have been made about some dude dressed like a woman and trying to like snatch somebody's kid up. It ain't happened, man. But you know, we live in an era of fear, man, and fear of the unknown. And if black people don't understand what that is, man, like study your history. That's the genesis of racism, man. You know, instead of getting to know and being informed on the thing that you don't know about, you decide to come up with your own conclusions, and a lot of times those conclusions are curved to the negative. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show. This is the end of this segment, so I'm gonna take a break, come back, and wrap the show up so I can go watch some basketball, man. I can't see what the score is on this Miami Toronto game. I gotta talk about this situation too with Dwayne Wade, man, just briefly. So I'll do that on the other side of the break. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show, heard right here on Spreaker.com. Don't forget to check out the website, onemicwithbigmike.com. Everything is there for you as well. You can contact me. Go to the contact page. The emails come straight to me from there. You guys can also check out all my social media. My Twitter and my Facebook are there. And also, you can hear the show live or check out archive episodes as well, man. I'll be right back after a very, 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 very short break.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. Final segment here on the One Mic with Big Mike show, the Monday edition of the One Mic with Big Mike show. Again, thank you guys for checking me out. Spread the tell a friend, man. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock, broadcasting via Spreaker, SPREAKER.com, and the app for all of your mobile devices, whatever platform that you're on. Also, check out the website. I got to figure out some more interactive things to do at my website, man. I may even start blogging. Start me a little weblog. Yeah, don't be looking for that anytime soon. But I may even start doing it. Somebody asked me about that. I may start doing that. Also, when I'm not here, I'm on TuneIn, iTunes, YouTube. You can catch archived episodes of the show also on my webpage as well, and on the Spreaker website and the Spreaker app as well. So if you don't get a chance to hear, if you don't have like 2-hour blocks to sit down and catch the entire show, you can always get it on demand via those entities. Now, I was talking about before I left the bathroom bill in North Carolina, how things are getting kind of sticky up there, man, and people are kind of dug in on what their intents are here. Just to kind of put a bow on it, what's proposed, what may end up happening, what's probably going to end up happening, is that this dude, the governor, he's going to sue the government. He's going to lose, and then find a way out of the situation, out of the bad situation, without, having egg on his face, without having to back down on his stance, just being like, yeah, man, the government, we lost the case, there's nothing we can do now. One of those type of situations. But in the meantime, while that's happening, you know what I mean, businesses and people going to be bouncing and taking their money elsewhere, man. And I'm not, whatever. Atlanta's only 3 hours from Charlotte. So for the people who want to come here, the people in Atlanta need jobs, man. They want to do All-Star Weekend here and all that good stuff, Pornhub and PayPal. I'm sure there's a place here, a home here for those people, man. And people out here need jobs just like anywhere else in the country. So somebody else's loss, man, will be hopefully the city of Atlanta's gain. Speaking of the city of Atlanta's game, I posted an article on my Facebook. One Mic with Big Mike. Excuse me. ONE. Actually, it's on my personal. So just One Mic with Big Mike. The number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. And it's about Dwight Howard, as we talk about the Hawks kind of trying to turn that corner, or either just putting the thing in reverse and crashing the car. And since 4 teams are reportedly in the running for Dwight Howard, and my post was, you should hope whoever your team is that they don't want Dwight Howard. And there's been some interesting comments, man. Like, people don't want him. My man Matt from East Point, he's kind of soured on Al Horford, by the way. So he says you wouldn't have to worry about him pulling threes and getting bullied in the paint by shooting guards. Oh, God, low blow, man. Keep him above the waist, B. But no, Dwight Howard, he's done. The league has passed him by. His prime has passed him by. He's a non-factor in the NBA right now. So that's a non-starter. Going on right now as I'm doing the show, that's on my brain. The Miami Heat and the Toronto Raptors are in Game 4, I think. The Raptors are up 2-1, and they're in Game 4. The big thing that came out of, let's get to the game. Game 3. Kyle Lowry, good for him, snapped out of that playoff long, going back to last year, slump that he was in. So good for that dude, first and foremost. Bad for them, the big man, the guy who was giving them the most consistent play in the paint. I got to find his name because I never can. First of all, hopefully I can pronounce it. I guess I don't have it here. Their big guy, Hassan Whiteside, is out with a knee situation. The Toronto big man, he has an ankle. So he's out indefinitely, which could, in fact, open the game up for guys like Joe Johnson, guys like Luol Deng, if you're the Miami Heat, guys like Goran Dragic. Maybe we can see Kyle Lowry get off a little bit more if they can get into the paint and attack the paint without Hassan Whiteside being in there. So we'll see how it plays out when the show's over. That's where my attention is going to shift to immediately. I'm kind of in and out of it right now, trying to see what's popping. But my little picture is so small, I can't see what's really happening. But the other thing, apparently during the pregame, Dwayne Wade, he has a shooting routine that he goes through every game, and because they're playing the Raptors, they got to get both anthems in, as though the players on the team, it's like one dude from Canada. You know what I mean? It's one dude. So they got to get both anthems in, like the same way they do in hockey. Here's my thing. And Dwayne Wade was shooting during the little girl shooting the anthem. Everybody's like, oh, he's so disrespectful. And first of all, he ain't from Canada, 1. And 2, who gives a damn? Like, people get so caught up into all their little symbolisms and all this kind of stuff. I always tell people, like, I used to work with a dude. He's a former military guy. And apparently he said something. I don't even know how true this is. I never even put the effort into going and checking. That it's illegal, because he's a serviceman, it's illegal for him to, anytime the pledge is being said or the anthem is being played, he has to stop and stand up and put his heart over his head. So this was like during the time where the World Cup was going on. The USA was, everybody was in their feelings about America and all this kind of craziness. And I'm looking at him like, dude, you're such a weirdo, man. Like, we about to do a sports show. You think somebody here gonna like tell on you? And even if somebody wanted to tell on you, like, who the hell would you tell? Hey, man, that dude Mark Zeno. Well, I said his name now. Yeah, he didn't stand up for the pledge. Like, who gives a damn? Like, I tell people all the time, that pledge wasn't written for me anyway. You know what I mean? So it ain't even about me. but it's so stupid. And God, like I actually did read about it because I had to find out like why is this done at sporting events? Like why is it a thing anyway? Why can't the game just start? And it started during a time of war. I think World War I or II or something like that. It started at a baseball game, I believe. And then it became just a thing to do. And no one questions it now because, you don't want to question America. Well, whatever. Screw that, man. So anyway, Dwayne Wade, it's not even during the American national anthem. The U.S. is during the Canadian national anthem, and he's being disrespectful to our whole. You got to stop immediately. Get out of here, man. That dude trying to win basketball games, man. Nobody's studying that. It's ridiculous. So that's kind of my takeaway from that. We got a series now. The series kind of has to shift a little bit. Guard play is going to be more. Prevalent, I think. The pace of the game should pick up a little bit with the bigs being out, with the starting bigs being out. Let me say it that way. But we'll see. I had something here. It says I just wrote Charles Barkley's comment. Not Barkley. Sorry, Charles Oakley. Charles Oakley was about to beat up, or kind of threatened to beat up Charles Barkley last week, and he was talking about how Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. He said something to the fact that they need to stop shooting. Wrong answer, B. Wrong answer. No, those are the dudes that need to be shooting. They just need to hit more of them. And Kyle Lowry, 33 points, I think, on 19 shot attempts the other day. Very efficient day for him, man. Kind of coming out, snapping out of that slump, man, which is what his team needs him to do. So, no, I'm not a fan of that at all. I'm of the Reggie Miller school of things. Like, if you're the best dude on the team, if your team going to go down, they need to go down with you shooting. Now, the fact of the matter is, you got to hit more. You got to make more shots. You got to be more efficient at doing that, which will open up the opportunities for you to get other people involved once your game is clicking. Oakley's talking about do other things, play defense, rebound, block shots, blah, 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 blah. Everybody ain't everything, man. I try to tell people that about James Harden. Now, James Harden might take it to another. Let me not use him as an example because some of his exploits on the defensive end are inexcusable. Carmelo, though. Like, Carmelo puts in the effort, man, but, he just ain't that dude, man. Carmelo get buckets. That's what he does. He gets buckets, and every now and then he'll flash defensively, but it ain't, like, sometimes James Harden has, like, lapses in effort. I don't think. And the last 2 years, full disclosure, I hadn't watched a whole lot of Knicks basketball, but, you don't see the YouTube clips of Carmelo. You just hear people talking about it, you know what I mean? And, for what it's worth, I just don't believe every player is everything. Like Michael Jordan, that standard that he set, and Kobe Bryant for a spell, and LeBron James now, where these dudes are so awesome on both ends of the court. That those are like, well, I ain't gotta say it. Like, look what I'm talking about, all-time greats, and everybody ain't that, man. Some people are just great now, and they just good now or whatnot. The Blazers and the Warriors, that's turned into a little series because of your boy Dame Lillard. I talked about a little bit earlier. The Warriors couldn't hold on to the basketball. We'll see a little bit more of that series tonight. Maybe see Steph Curry come off the bench. He got upgraded, that knee. It's been, I think today makes 2 weeks. It was an initial prognosis of 2 weeks, so today makes 2 weeks. So we'll see, and we'll see if he can do some damage coming off the bench if they decide that that's the way they want to go. Last night, we saw the Thunder get them one. Against the Spurs, man. And, the thing about this team, man, like we talk about that machine that is the Spurs and whatnot. We're seeing a situation now, Tim Duncan kind of getting phased out, man, not being able to keep up. Possibly that may be what it is because he didn't play a lot yesterday and didn't score any points, man. At certain points in the game, he looked like he was just like kind of just bored sitting over there. But, he ain't the dude to complain, man. And at this point in his career, I don't think there's much complaining to do, man. If he decides to hang it up at the end of the season, I don't think anybody's going to be mad at him. Like, man, Tim had so much more to give. Nah, Tim gave you everything, man. He's a first ballot, surefire, top-tier Hall of Fame. Like in the NBA, you got to put it in tiers. My man Jason Goff kind of hit me to this, talking about people with the seat at that table. Like a lot of people get into the Hall of Fame, the Kembe Mutombo and guys, you got the next tier like Barkley and those dudes. But then you got the top tier, man, the Magics and the Birds, the champions, man. And Tim Duncan will be there. Him and Kobe will be there. LeBron will be there, man. So Tim is giving you everything. And he's good, man. If you walk away, of course, he don't need a lot of fanfare, man. He's been that way his whole career, so it's cool. I mentioned earlier, man, when I was talking about Kevin Durant, man, I was talking about these compliments that keep flying back and forth between, Kevin Durant and Popovich. Yesterday, Popovich like, man, he's so awesome, man. He's just so great at the presser, man. And Kevin Durant, this according to Anthony Slater of the Oklahoman, he's praising San Antonio's depth and expressed his admiration for the fact that David West was willing to take a pay cut and a lesser role in order to chase a championship. Like, David West, man, that's still like a crackhead move to me, dude. He went from $10 million to $1 million for limited minutes just to play for the Spurs. It's like, dude, damn. You know what I mean? Damn. Like, I don't know what David West's career earnings are. I think I looked it up last year. But still, that's $9 million, cuz, that you just like to kind of just ride. Because I guess he contribute, but damn, $9 million, man. This article goes on to talk about how this Bleacher Report article talks about what they'll need to do to get Kevin Durant in the building, man, and the fact that he's talking about less money and that kind of stuff. LaMarcus Aldridge, Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, and Andy Green are all set to make like $10 million next season. So, even with the salary cap going up, there's going to be some moves that need to be made. Guys like Boris Diaw, guys like Danny Green, Patty Mills, dudes like that's they're going to have to try to figure out something to clear up the money to get Kevin Durant in the building. But he seems to be a dude that, he got his eye on what's going on, man. And like it was talked about after game 1 that if the way he goes out with Oklahoma City this year, if it ends up being a continuation of what happened in game 1, which was a massive blowout, which as now we see it's turned around for him. So it's not going to be that. Whether or not he leaves Oklahoma City and finds his way maybe to San Antonio or to the Heat or to the Celtics maybe. I don't like if I was a star, I'd be on the first thing smoking. 27-year-old dude, LeBron ain't gonna have it forever, man. Take your ass to the East, cuz. Yeah, man, go head eastward, my son. I think it's westward, really, like the real saying. But yeah, he need to head eastward, and I'll continue to put this out there. So that you know what, too, because like, so when it happens, or when the story is written, Chris Vivlamore of the AJC writes a story about the Hawks' interest in Kevin Durant. Yeah, both of you who listen to this right now can say, yeah, that dude, Big Mike on that podcast, he said that first. He's the first person to actually, delve into that conversation. You damn right. I don't know if I even got into this as much as I wanted to, man, about Cleveland and the thought process that, not my thought process, but I always find that it's funny how people kind of change their perspective on things based on what we're talking about. Yesterday on Facebook, people telling me when I asked the question about is Cleveland kind of paying for a championship, is this considered the same thing as what the Yankees did? Nah, it's two different sports. Yeah, no crap, Sherlock. Yeah, I know it's two different sports, but the action that I'm talking about here, the fact that here's like a little hidden gem for you guys. The fact that when the season started, the Cavs were paying like $27 million in luxury tax, right? Since then, Channing Frye has been brought to the table and is now costing them $32 million in luxury tax. Now, Channing Frye has been a welcome addition. He's a big dude, able to stretch the floor and hit a bunch of 3-pointers. But when you look at up and down their roster, the money that's been dealt out, the Tristan Thompson money, he got Draymond money. Kevin Love got big money. Of course, LeBron and Kyrie. Kyrie got his money a few years ago. I think JR opted out, but he opted back in for less. Yeah, straight JR, baby. Yeah, he opted back in for less, but they're paying way more money than anybody in the league right now. And whether they win a championship or not, I don't really know if people are gonna look at it like, yeah, but they had to buy it, man. Or if people even think that way anymore, because the money has just gotten so large and so out of control. Whether people even have that in their mindset anymore, as far as what owners do. Yeah, it says there are 20 other teams who haven't even paid $28 million in luxury tax since Dan Gilbert bought the team in 2005, where he spent a total of $50 million just in luxury tax. This ain't got nothing to do with salary, B. And for every dollar over he is now, because I don't know if you guys remember when they did the new collective bargaining agreement to keep people from signing people to these absorbent contracts, they put in like a I guess you want to call it an escalator on the overage. So the first year it was like $1 to $1, and then $1 to $2. Now it's $1 for every dollar over the luxury tax that he is. It's costing him $4. So times it times 4. That's where you get to that $32 million overage that he's playing. It's the One Mike with Big Mike show. I'm going to wrap things up here in just a second. I'm being heard on Spreaker.com. Appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me. Those of you who have. If you haven't, or if you know somebody who is listening and they're gone now, they can always get the show later on, either via the website, onemikewithbigmike.com, or via Spreaker.com, or via TuneIn, the TuneIn app, the iTunes app, or via YouTube as well. Everything is everywhere, man. So you guys got an opportunity to go download it or stream it later. I do appreciate you guys spreading the word and telling your friends about it. Also, don't forget the chat room is wide open for a couple more minutes now, man. So if you see that little thought bubble on the streaming player, whichever streaming player that you're using, whether it's on your phone or it's on the computer, just click on that, sign in via your Facebook account, or you can sign up for your free Spreaker account, so you can have your own Spreaker account and you can follow my show, One Mike with Big Mike, and jump on in the chat room, man, and join the conversation for the next couple of minutes. The last thing, man, I want to end the show with, man, is the update on the situation at Penn State. On Friday, we talked about an insurance claim revealing that Joe Paterno was actually told about Jerry Sandusky and his sexual abuse of little boys in 1976, like 40 years ago. Well, today, the payouts have gone back to 1971. Yeah, 1971, man. I mentioned it earlier, man. A dude now, a guy, a man, he's 60 years old, man, is still having problems, man, getting over this, man. Penn State's legal settlements with Jerry Sandusky's accusers cover alleged abuse dating to 1971. Of course, over 40 years before he was actually arrested and put in jail. So you imagine how many boys between that time, man, and the time that this sick bastard was put in jail, man, had to endure something like this, man. A university spokesman, Lawrence Lokman, he told the Associated Press that he could confirm that the earliest year of the alleged abuse covered in Penn State settlements, the settlements that they paid out to the accusers. I'm going to call them victims, by the way, to the victims since 1971, or started in 1971. The university has paid out more than $90 million to settle more than 30 civil claims involving Sandusky because, of course, he was using the facilities at at Penn State University to rape these boys. Joe Paterno's family, they hell bent on trying to protect the name of this sick bastard they call Dad, man, who put himself and his punk ass legacy as a football coach. He put that over the safety of kids, man, and his family is pursuing a lawsuit against the NCAA for commercial what is this word? Disparagement. I'm sorry. Yeah, disparagement. Saying that they ruined his name. Nah, not telling people that your boy was sexually abusing kids. That ruined your name. Because 3 university officials, including President Graham Spanier, they now await trial on criminal charges for their handling of the Sandusky scandal. They should get the same damn. I think he got like 30 years, and he's old as hell. So that's life, man. And I hope every dude, I hope like the Booty Warrior is in there just getting busy, because, you know what I mean? Like, the worst things that could happen to that old bastard in jail, man, need to happen, man, because, like, stuff like this is just really, like, at some point, sometimes, man, you look at stuff like this and you wonder, like, is this worse than murder, man? Because at least with murder, man, the pain ends, man. This one dude is 60 years old, man, and he still is dealing with the horror and the shame, blaming himself for what happened to him, man. I don't know, man. I don't for somebody to have to endure that, man, and for it not to be, for it not to be dealt with for 40 years. Here's the quote from the victim. He was a part of the $60 million settlement that Penn State paid out. This is per CNN. He says, quote, he's talking about him telling Joe Paterno and them kind of just turning. So we're talking back to 1971, him being told, right? He says, I tell them, quote, I tell them what happened. Well, I couldn't get it out of me that I can't even tell it to this day. It's just degrading that I was raped, he said. Quote, I told the story up to a certain point. I told him that he had grabbed me and that I got the hell out of there. He insisted that he made it very clear that he was sexually attacked. I made it clear there were things done to me, that I just can't believe could have been done to me, and I couldn't escape. I said I'm very upset and scared, and I couldn't believe I let my guard down. They listened to me, and then all hell broke loose. The quote continues. They accused him of making it up. Quote, stop this right now. We'll call the authorities in, quote. He said they told him. They threatened to call the police on the dude that got raped. Huh. Yeah. If I believed in this thing called hell, I would definitely hope that he burned there in it, but that's another story. He goes on to say in a subsequent quote, I just wanted to get off the phone at that point. Yeah, of course. You telling the most powerful man in a damn little town that this horrible thing happened to you by a dude that he knows personally, that's his man, and all of a sudden you become the accused. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know that's something that anybody. I don't care if it's your dad. You know what I mean? At some point, man, you can't defend that. You know what I mean? This dude's 60 years old. He done got his money. Ain't no reason for him to keep lying. If you think he's lying about it, why? What's the motivation for him to continue to lie? He's been paid. What's the motivation of him to continue to go through therapy? There is none, man. You know what I mean? I'm forced to believe, man, this dude and this stuff happened to him, man. Because there's no more to gain. Everything that has been gained, you can't turn back the clock. Everything that's to be gained financially has been gained. Yeah, man. It's just, I hate to end the show on this type of note, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I told you guys at the beginning in November, it wasn't just going to be all, craps and giggles and, slapstick and, let me give you my top 10 list of all-time left-handed point guards. Nah. You know what I mean? I don't know that I'm better than that. I just know that I'm different than that. So I come back Wednesday, man. So what you looking at Wednesday? Hopefully, man, I get Rick Mahorn. I think it was Rick Mahorn that was said today. Maybe willing to come on and do the show. Was it? Hold on, everybody. Let me check. I don't want to put out no bad information. One Odin Polynice, former NBA player, was one person that was brought up to me, and Rick Mahorn. Hopefully, one of those dudes join me for what you're looking at Wednesday on Wednesday here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. Until then, you guys take care, man. I'll be back on Hump Day. You guys make sure you hit the website up. Tell your friends about the website, onemicwithbigmike.com, so I get my listenership up and going. If you or anybody got any business inquiries and would like to sponsor the show in any type of way, or sponsor an hour of the show, or a segment of the show, or whatnot, just hit me up on the webpage, man. Go to the contact page and shoot me the email and the information, and we'll work something out, man. We'll get it popping. Also, check me out on TuneIn, iTunes, and YouTube as well. Till then, man, y'all take care. I'm out of here.